Discover how one boy's heartwarming sacrifice for an elderly couple led to a life-changing gift. 12-year-old Ethan Wright stood in the middle of his small Midwestern town, the scent of fresh grass and looming storm clouds battling for his attention. His heart raced like a runaway train at the thought of becoming a professional football player, but reality was a hard-hitting tackle. He eagerly helped his single mother make ends meet by running odd jobs, putting his dreams on the back burner. Yet, beneath the weight of responsibilities, his bright eyes sparkled with ambition. The storm struck without warning. Roaring winds ripped through the town, leaving behind a path of destruction that shook even the strongest of trees. Ethan sprinted to help the neighbors, clearing debris and lending a hand wherever he could. When he stumbled upon Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, an elderly couple he'd seen sitting on their porch for years. Their home, once a haven filled with laughter and stories, lay in ruins, shattered pieces scattered like memories blown away. Ethan's heart clenched. He remembered their smiles, the way Mrs. Thompson used to wave as he walked home from school. Without thinking twice, he rolled up his sleeves and began to sift through the wreckage. The Thompsons watched, their eyes glazing with gratitude and disbelief. In that moment, the true depth of Ethan's character shone through. He worked tirelessly, guiding them to safety as they salvaged what they could. As days passed, Ethan poured all his energy into helping the couple. Word spread through town, and some residents began to question their past judgments of the Thompsons. They could see the love and resilience the couple exuded, which softened the harsh assumptions whispered in backyards and coffee shops. The warmth of the community started to melt away the icy prejudice. It was a heartwarming metamorphosis. However, his mother grew concerned. The burden of their own financial struggles weighed heavily on her shoulders, and Ethan's devotion to the Thompsons threatened their already delicate balance. "Ethan," she said, her voice quivering, "we have our own problems. I just don't want to lose you in this." Her worry echoed against his heart, a reminder of the fragile line between sacrifice for others and protection for one's family. The pressure mounted. Ethan felt like he was navigating a tightrope, pulled between dreams of glory on the football field and the noble cause of helping the Thompsons. The Friday night lights beckoned, yet the warmth of community intertwined with his hope. What truly mattered, his dreams or the legacy of compassion he was building? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As Ethan stood amid the debris, a surprise community rally unfolded, unexpectedly honoring both him and the Thompsons. The love radiating from the crowd filled the air with an electric charge. Tears glistened, and there were hugs and praises. But beneath the joy, Ethan grappled with daunting questions. Could true compassion outweigh personal dreams? As he felt the weight of the town's eyes upon him, he wondered, had he discovered a wealth greater than the one he sought on the field? The decision loomed, leaving him at the crossroads of loyalty and aspiration, eager to see where his heart would lead next. The next day dawned bright and clear, a stark contrast to the chaos of the storm. Ethan awoke with a sense of determination. That rally had ignited something deep within him, a flicker of purpose stronger than ever. Yet, as he dressed for school, the familiar knots of doubt coiled tightly in his stomach. Was he ready to hold the weight of others' expectations? Did his moment of heroism count for anything, compared to the dreams he harbored as a future football star? His mother, still weary but proud, dropped him off at the high school. "Remember, Ethan," she said, her tone gentle yet urgent. "You can't fix everything. Take care of yourself too." He nodded, but her words lingered like a lingering cloud over him, amplifying the conflict within. Throughout the day, whispers surrounded him like buzzing bees. "Did you see what Ethan did for the Thompsons? And he should really play for the high school team." A knot tightened in his chest at every compliment. They admired him for helping the couple but had no idea that this wasn't just about goodwill. It felt bigger, a choice that could change the course of his life. During lunch, his friends gathered around him, excitedly discussing the upcoming football game. Ethan's heart raced with longing. The field, the place where he felt truly alive. Yet, as his friends cheered and talked strategy, the image of Mr. and Mrs. Thompson emerged in his mind. Their soft smiles, the way they clasped hands as they talked about their dreams of better days. Could he pursue his passion at the expense of their hope for a brighter future? After school, Ethan raced home to help his mom with chores. As he scrubbed the kitchen floor, he discovered a newspaper clipping about the Thompsons' story tucked under a bowl. The headline read, "Community comes together after devastating storm." His eyes widened as he read one particular line. Ethan Wright, a young boy, represents hope and compassion in our town. The weight of that description settled heavily within him. Could he really embody that hope? With each scrub of the floor, determination grew. "I could do both," he murmured to himself. "I could play ball and still help them." It was a balance he was determined to find. So he made a decision. He would approach the Thompsons again, offering them help not only in physical labor, but also by rallying the community for fundraising or support. As he finished up, Ethan felt a warmth spreading through his heart, a blend of hope and responsibility. He organized a small gathering at the park, inviting friends and neighbors to brainstorm how to raise funds for the Thompsons. When he presented the idea to his mom, her eyes shone with pride. "That's my boy," she said, tears glistening. "You're allowing your heart to shine." But as he prepared for the gathering, a familiar fear crept in. What if nobody showed up? What if his efforts fell flat? And even deeper, what if the more he helped others, the more he drifted away from his dreams? As he looked out the window, clouds rolled in once more, as though the storm had never really left. A sudden surge of courage surged within him. If he didn't try, he would never know. What would he uncover about himself in the process? And at that moment, Ethan decided. He would champion both the Thompsons and his own dreams, whatever the outcome might be. As he stood on the brink of this new venture, anticipation pulsing through him, he wondered, was he strong enough to pull it off? Only time would tell. Ethan spent the night tossing and turning, the visions of what might come colliding with his dreams of touchdowns and cheers. Morning brought with it a mixture of enthusiasm and trepidation. He dressed quickly, breakfast forgotten. Every tick of the clock felt heavy, as if time itself was questioning his resolve. When he arrived at the park, he was greeted by a handful of familiar faces. Friends and neighbors, some with eager smiles and others with hesitant expressions. He swallowed hard as he surveyed the group. There were probably only about 20 people, far fewer than he had hoped. Panic tinged his heart. "Glad you're all here," Ethan managed, trying to sound cheerful. They nodded, shifting weight from foot to foot, waiting for him to lead. "We're here to brainstorm some ideas to help the Thompsons," he said, his voice quivering slightly. "I thought we could maybe hold a bake sale or a car wash, something to raise funds." The murmurs that followed were mixed. Some faces lit up, energized by the idea, while others looked skeptical. "Do you really think we can make a difference?" one of his friends, Jack, asked, crossing his arms. Ethan felt the weight of that question. "Why not?" he countered, the old fire igniting in his chest. "Every little bit helps. If 100 people give $1, that's $100. And if we can do more, then we will. Every effort counts." Challenged, the crowd leaned closer, their doubt beginning to thin. "Okay, what about each of us bringing baked goods for the sale?" a girl named Mia suggested. "Yeah, we can have a lemonade stand too," chimed Dan in. As ideas began to flow, confidence surged through Ethan. They spoke a little louder now, sharing not just suggestions, but laughter and hope. He could see their excitement ripple through the group, turn nervous smiles into determined ones. This was it, the connection he sought, and that flicker of purpose began to grow. After a productive hour, they divided responsibilities. Ethan felt tired but exhilarated, a combination he could embrace. He had set the wheels in motion, rallying not only for the Thompsons but for a sense of unity among his friends and neighbors. Just as he was about to leave, however, His phone buzzed in his pocket. It was a text from his coach. "Big game Saturday. Don't forget practice tonight." A wave of conflicting emotions crashed over him. The game was a critical moment for his football season. The opportunity to shine and secure a spot on the starting lineup was right there, just a few days away. But so was his commitment to the Thompsons. He could visualize the couple, smiling gratefully as they received help from the community he was igniting. His heart thudded as he stared at the message, then looked at the group chatting animatedly. Did he have to choose? Could he really manage to be part of both worlds? The thought of missing practice stirred a mix of fear and rebellion within him. What were the right priorities? He reached a decision, tinged with uncertainty. "I'll go to practice, but I'll make sure my heart stays here too." Both dreams mattered, after all his athletic aspirations and his newfound responsibility for the Thompsons. He could be the boy who did both if he truly wanted to. As he walked home, determination coursed through him again, but new questions lingered. Could he balance it all without losing himself? And what if something important slipped through the cracks? The storm within him rumbled quietly now, but he could still feel its weight. Only time would reveal what lay ahead. Ethan stepped into the familiar chaos of the locker room, the scent of sweat and leather mixing with the adrenaline that buzzed in the air. His teammates were already shuffled together, warming up for practice, their laughter echoing off the walls. He felt a little tug of excitement, the kind that filled his heart when he thought about the game. But today, that joy was dulled by an undercurrent of worry as he pulled on his uniform. He couldn't shake the images of the Thompsons from his mind. Their smiles, even through their worries, stayed with him like fingerprints on his heart. He inhaled deeply, pushing away the thoughts. It was time to focus. "Hey, Ethan, ready to show us some magic out there?" His friend Jake slapped him on the back, jolting him from his thoughts. "Yep. Let us do this," he replied, forcing a grin. Yet as the whistle blew, signaling them to gather, he felt his stomach knot. The practice started with stretches, but his thoughts were anywhere but on the field. He watched his teammates sprint and catch while he jogged back and forth, sweat pouring down his brow. Each huff and sigh seemed to echo in his ears, reminding him of the real-world concerns waiting outside these walls as the drills progressed. Ethan began to feel more in sync with the game. The rhythm of the practice dug into him, and he pushed himself harder with each snap of the ball and call from the coach. But then, a sudden sharp whistle pierced his focus. "Ethan, where's your head today?" Coach Thompson's voice boomed across the field, full of authority. "You're lagging. You need to be here right now." Ethan's heart sank. "I'm sorry, coach. Just a lot on my mind," he admitted, catching the coach's stare. "Then leave it off the field. You've got a game to prepare for," coach snapped. But Ethan could see the concern hidden in his eyes. The man wanted him to rise to the occasion. But what occasion? Was it just about football, or was it about something bigger? He pushed through the rest of practice, a mix of determination and guilt knotting in his stomach. Every time he caught or threw the ball, he imagined the Thompsons cheering him on, but their struggles shadowed his triumphs. After practice, his teammates dispersed, joking about dinner plans and post-game celebrations, while he slowly gathered his gear and headed home. The sun lowered on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink. It soothed him slightly, the beauty a soft reminder of everything he held dear. But then his thoughts turned again. How could he really balance football and helping others? When he reached his neighborhood, Ethan spotted Mr. Thompson sitting on his porch, gazing into the street. His heart froze. The gaze of the elderly man seemed to ask, "What's next?" With every step, Ethan felt both hope and fear. "Hey there, Ethan," Mr. Thompson called, a warm smile breaking across his face. "You doing all right?" Those few words sparked a wave of warmth through Ethan, reminding him why he was doing all of this. "I am trying to be," Ethan replied, feeling the shift in his heart. He sat down beside Mr. Thompson, and for a moment, they simply shared the quiet. Ethan found himself opening up. "I want to help, but I'm scared I won't be able to do it all. It feels like I'm being pulled in two directions," Mr. Thompson chuckled softly, understanding dancing in his eyes. Sometimes, Ethan, it's okay to stumble a little. It's how we find our footing. Suddenly, a thought sparked in Ethan's chest. What if there was a way to combine both passions? What if the upcoming game could be the bridge that connected everything? As the sun dipped below the horizon, he made a vow to himself. It was time to transform his fears into action. His heart raced with inspiration for something bold. But could he actually take that step? The excitement mingled with anxiety. What plan could he formulate that would honor both his love for football and his commitment to the Thompsons? He decided then tomorrow, he would ask his friends for help in bridging these two worlds. But how? He could feel the tension of what lay ahead. With a blend of hope and apprehension, he looked out towards the night sky, wondering what tomorrow might bring. Ethan woke up the next day with a flutter of nervous excitement in his chest. The morning sun streamed through his window, casting warm rays across his room, illuminating his scattered football memorabilia and half-finished school assignments. He sat up, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, replaying the night's conversation with Mr. Thompson in his mind. Find your footing. The words echoed, wrapped in comfort and wisdom. It was time to transform those words into action. He rushed through his morning routine, barely touching his breakfast. The plan was forming in his mind, but he needed support. He needed his friends. As he headed to school, he could feel the weight of uncertainty pressing down. He knew they wouldn't all understand his anxiety, but he had to try. His heart raced as he walked into the bustling cafeteria, the lively chatter of his classmates filling the air. He spotted Jake across the room, animatedly telling a story to their group of friends. "Hey guys, can I borrow you for a minute?" Ethan called, feeling adrenaline mix with his nerves. Jake's head snapped up, curiosity flaring in his eyes. "What's up, man?" Ethan gathered them around, trying to ignore the doubt creeping into his mind. "So, I want to do something special. I thought about using the upcoming game to help the Thompsons." The table fell silent for a moment as faces turned thoughtful. "The Thompsons? They're the older couple down the street, right?" One of their teammates, Alex, asked. "Yeah. They've been having a rough time," Ethan explained, his heart hammering. "I was thinking we could organize a fundraiser during the game. We could sell snacks, maybe have raffles, and donate the money to them. They could really use it." For a heartbeat, hesitation hung in the air, but Jake broke the silence. "That's not a bad idea. Count me in." Ethan felt a rush of relief wash over him. "Really? You think we could pull it off?" "Of course. We're a team, right? Let us rally the whole squad." Jake grinned, enthusiasm bubbling. Gradually, the rest of the group joined in, brainstorming ideas, suggestions flying around like the football they'd be tossing later. The atmosphere shifted, sparking with energy and shared purpose. Ethan basked in the warmth of their support, fueled by the collective excitement. "What about shirts? We can make some with a slogan something like 'Play for the Thompsons,'" Alex suggested. "Yeah." Another teammate chimed in. "We could set up a donation box, too." Ethan took it all in, feeling like he was riding a wave of hope. They talked excitedly, planning logistics, figuring out how they could turn the game into something more meaningful as classes went on. The thoughts of the Thompsons and their struggles were slowly replaced by this new mission. It felt good to have a purpose, a goal that merged his passion for football with the need to support the Thompsons. That evening, as he walked home, his mind bubbled with ideas and excitement. But a small part of him still wondered if they could actually make a real difference. What if it didn't go as planned? When he reached his street, Ethan noticed Mr. Thompson sitting on the porch again. His heart beat a bit faster. The moment felt significant. "Hey, Mr. Thompson, I've got an idea," Ethan called out, adrenaline surging again, like it did before a big game. Mr. Thompson turned, a curious smile transforming his weathered face. "Oh, do tell me more, Ethan." Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of their struggles entwine with the hope blooming in his chest. As he shared his vision, he didn't just envision a fundraiser, he envisioned a community coming together for something bigger. "How do you think I can make this happen?" he asked, a mixture of excitement and nervousness tinging his voice. Mr. Thompson leaned forward, his eyes gleaming with pride. You might just be surprised at how far a little effort can go with that encouragement. Ethan felt certainty cementing within him. But as Mr. Thompson listened closely, Ethan's heart swirled with both eagerness and doubt. What if this all didn't work out? Could he actually bridge the worlds of his passion for football and the needs of the Thompsons? Tomorrow, he thought, would bring new challenges as they began to lay the groundwork. Would this be the moment that finally connected it all? Or would he stumble again? Ethan woke up the next morning before his alarm even buzzed. The bright light pouring through his window felt like a signal, urging him to get moving. Today was important. It felt like the start of something monumental. He swung his legs over the side of the bed and rubbed his hands over his face, releasing the last remnants of sleep. He dressed quickly, his heart already racing at the possibilities for the day ahead. Before heading downstairs, he grabbed a notepad and pen off his desk and started scribbling notes about all the ideas from yesterday. He wanted to remember every single thought his friends shared. Breakfast was a blur. His mom was in a rush, pouring coffee and texting, and Ethan knew he wouldn't get more than a quick hug and a pat on the shoulder before she dashed off to work. "Have a good day, buddy. You're gonna do great things," she called over her shoulder. "Yeah, I sure hope so," he replied, half laughing at his own uncertainty. At school, he could barely sit still. Every class was tinged with a sense of purpose. As the bell rang for lunch, he raced back to the cafeteria, excitement bubbling in his chest. Jake was already waiting for him along with the rest of the team. They quickly dove back into planning, the energy around the table infectious. "Okay, we need to make those shirts," Ethan declared, his eyes lighting up. "And let us set a target for how much we want to raise. Why don't we aim for at least $1,000? Jake suggested, puffing out his chest like it was an easy feat. "Really? You think we can pull that off?" Ethan's surprise made his stomach flutter. "It's not about the amount. It's about how we come together to help them," Alex interjected, nodding vigorously. They began sketching designs for the shirts on napkins, each team member adding their own flair. Knowing they'd come together like this gave Ethan a sense of belonging he'd been missing. He could see his teammates energized, all focused on this shared goal. When they discussed the donation box, it hit him suddenly how much could happen if they all put their hearts into it. "What if we have a few of us go door to door after practice? We could ask for things to raffle off." "Like what?" someone asked. Ethan thought for a moment. "I don't know. Maybe local businesses could chip in? We can hit up Mr. Carter at the hardware store. And maybe the bakery down the road could donate some goodies." "I like it. I'll ask my dad if he can print flyers," Jake added, excitement radiating from his grin. After lunch, they each took on roles to ensure everything would run smoothly. Ethan felt like he was breathing excitement. They would do this for the Thompsons, yes, but it felt bigger than just that. It was about their whole community coming together. But by the time the bell rang to signal the end of the day, a whisper of fear crept back in. What if they didn't raise that much? As he walked home, he considered all the challenges ahead. Felt heavier than ever. That evening, Ethan spotted Mr. Thompson outside again, the older man watering his plants. Taking a deep breath, Ethan walked over, feeling a little nervous but also very determined. "Hey, Mr. Thompson, we're working on something special for you." Mr. Thompson looked up, surprised. "Oh, what's that, Ethan?" Ethan smiled, his heart racing. "We're planning a fundraiser during the game. We want to help you guys." Mr. Thompson's eyes widened, and for a moment, Ethan thought he might not be ready for this level of hope. "That sounds wonderful. You're a good kid, Ethan," he said with a genuine smile that warmed Ethan's heart. But as he gave his pitch about the shirts, donations, and flyers, Ethan noticed Mr. Thompson's expression shift slightly. "It will be great, right?" Ethan asked, trying to mask the growing panic within him. "Sure, Ethan. But sometimes good intentions need a solid plan," Mr. Thompson replied, gently. Ethan felt the weight of those words thump against his chest. Could their good intentions truly be enough? Suddenly, the ground felt shaky beneath his feet. They needed more than just enthusiasm. They needed a plan that could actually work. And with that thought swirling in his mind, Ethan realized he had to gather not just the team, but the whole community. His heart raced at the daunting task ahead. "Okay, how do we make this work?" he murmured to himself, staring at the sunset, shadows growing long as he stood at the crossroads of hope and uncertainty. Could he rally everyone together? Would they rise to the occasion? Time would tell, but one thing was certain: this was only the beginning of something big. Ethan tossed and turned in bed that night, his thoughts racing like a car on an endless highway. Each time he closed his eyes, the weight of Mr. Thompson's words echoed in his mind. Good intentions needed a solid plan. How could they make sure this fundraiser was more than just an idea tossed about at lunch? He sat up, turning on his desk lamp. Writing had always been an escape. As he scribbled down ideas, he felt a sense of clarity. What if we organized a neighborhood meeting? He thought aloud, the lamp casting a warm glow around the room. If everyone knew about the fundraiser, maybe they could contribute in ways I hadn't even thought of. The idea of including the entire neighborhood filled him with a new sense of purpose. He could visualize families gathering in the community park under the giant oak tree just down the street from the Thompsons' home, each of them being part of something bigger. Warm smiles, laughter, the kind of community spirit that Ethan had always admired. The next morning, buoyed by his realization, Ethan practically flew through his morning routine. He grabbed a couple of flyers he had printed hastily thanks to Jake's dad and set off down the road. Knocking on doors felt daunting, but with every tap, he gained confidence. "Hi, I'm Ethan," he would say with a smile. "I'm part of the school team organizing a fundraiser for the Thompsons. Would you like to join us in our effort?" Some neighbors seemed surprised but genuinely interested. Others looked hesitant, perhaps unsure of how their small contribution could help. Each time he faced a reluctant expression, Ethan felt a pang in his chest, but he pressed on, enthusiasm in his voice. "Every bit helps. Together, we can make a difference." After a couple of hours and many encouraging conversations, Ethan found himself back at home, the stack of donations growing on his kitchen table. Gift certificates, baked goods, an antique lamp from Mrs. Collins down the street, things he never imagined would be offered flowed in. Each item felt like a victory, fueling his belief that they could do this. Later, as he and Jake sat at their laptops sorting through what they gathered, the phone rang. It was Mr. Thompson. "Hello, Ethan. I heard some whispers around the neighborhood about a fundraiser you're planning. Would you mind if I came by? I'd love to discuss things further," he asked, a curious tone in his voice. Ethan felt a mixture of apprehension and eagerness. Would discussing their plans with Mr. Thompson keep the flame of hope burning? "Of course, Mr. Thompson. We'd love your advice," he replied, hoping to keep his voice steady. A short while later, Mr. Thompson arrived with a warm smile that instantly put Ethan at ease. His presence, comforting and wise, filled the room. "You've done something remarkable here," he said, glancing at the table covered in donations. "People want to help. That's the heart of community." Ethan felt a rush of pride. "But we need your guidance. I keep wondering if I'm doing enough." Mr. Thompson took a moment and then leaned in closer. "Ethan, it's not just about the fundraising efforts. It's about the connections you're building. You're inspiring others to care, and that is what makes a difference." The warmth in Mr. Thompson's voice melted some of Ethan's lingering fears. With that one conversation, he felt a renewed determination. Maybe this was about more than just money. It was about bringing together everyone for a shared cause. As the sun dipped below the horizon that night, casting long shadows and painting the sky with colors of hope, Ethan realized the road ahead was still long and uncertain. But he was no longer scared. He felt charged with purpose. "Tomorrow we'll gather everyone," he exclaimed. "It's time to unite, to show what we can achieve together." And with that, Ethan went to bed with a smile on his face, knowing that the next day would mark another milestone in their journey. But as he drifted off to sleep, a new question began to surface. What if the community's response was different than he hoped? Would they rally together as he envisioned? Little did he know, the real test was just around the corner. Would hope turn into action? Ethan woke up the next morning energized. the sun's light spilling through his window like a welcome embrace. He quickly dressed and made his way to the kitchen, where he found his mom pouring herself a cup of coffee. She looked up with curiosity. "Big day today, huh?" she asked with a smile, sensing his excitement. "I'm gathering everyone," Ethan replied, his voice bubbling with enthusiasm. "I need to share our plans for the fundraiser. It's time for the whole neighborhood to come together." His mom nodded, pride shining in her eyes. "That sounds wonderful, Ethan. Let me help you with the snacks for the meeting." Together, they prepared a tray of cookies and lemonade, Ethan's favorite. As he carefully placed them in a basket, he could hardly contain himself. The thought of the community rallying behind the Thompsons ignited a spark in him. By late afternoon, the sun was starting to dip. Ethan stood at the community park under the great oak tree, waiting. Thoughts swirled in his mind, and he felt the crunch of leaves beneath his feet as he paced back and forth. Would anyone show up? He took a deep breath and squinted at the path leading to the park. One by one, families began to arrive. First came the Rodriguez family, followed by the Johnsons, and then Mrs. Collins, her usual bright scarf flowing in the breeze. They gathered together, curiosity and encouragement etched on their faces. As the last few neighbors trickled in, Ethan felt a rush of warmth wash over him. This was it. He climbed onto a low picnic table, the wooden surface giving a slight creak under his weight, and called out, "Thank you all for coming. I know we're all busy, but what we're doing is important." His voice, though shaky at first, grew steady as he shared the story of Mr. Thompson and the challenges they faced. The crowd listened intently, some nodding their heads, others leaning closer, as if he were whispering secrets. He could feel hearts softening, the energy of empathy flowing in the air like an unseen current. "I want us all to be part of something amazing," he said, pouring his heart into each word. "With all of your help, we can make this fundraiser unforgettable. It's not just about raising money. It's about showing that we care and that we stand together." When he finished speaking, a ripple of applause broke out. It felt surreal, a wave of support that lifted him higher than he could have imagined. Ms. Rodriguez stepped forward, her voice strong and clear. "Ethan, thank you for taking the initiative. I can donate some freshly baked bread for the event." Then others chimed in, offering baked goods, gift cards, and even volunteering to help organize the event. As the conversations buzzed around him, Ethan's heart swelled. For a moment, he felt a surge of hope blooming. "I can do this. They can do this." But it didn't last long. A shadow of doubt washed over him when he caught sight of Mr. Thompson standing quietly at the back of the group. The older man had a furrowed brow, eyes focused, but not on what was happening. After the meeting, Ethan approached him, half expecting a smile but instead met a gaze that was heavy. "Mr. Thompson," Ethan started, hesitating. "What do you think? Are we on the right track?" Mr. Thompson took a moment before replying, "What you've started today is wonderful, Ethan. But there's something important you need to know." Ethan felt a knot tighten in his stomach. Was there something he missed? Something he hadn't prepared for? "What is it?" he asked, holding his breath. Mr. Thompson stepped a little closer, his expression serious. There might be more challenges ahead than just organizing a fundraiser. As Ethan's heart raced, he realized that the journey was just beginning. What more could possibly stand in their way? Ethan's mind raced with possibilities. What could Mr. Thompson mean? The excitement of the meeting still buzzed in the air, but now that excitement felt fragile, like glass just waiting to shatter. He studied Mr. Thompson's face, searching for answers, but all he found was concern etched deep in the older man's features. "Mr. Thompson, please, what do you mean?" Ethan urged, leaning in slightly, desperation creeping into his voice. Mr. Thompson glanced around as if to ensure no one else was listening, though the crowd had thinned and most were engrossed in their own conversations. He cleared his throat, his eyes piercing into Ethan's. "You need to understand that sometimes, intentions alone aren't enough. There are forces at play that can complicate things. People who might not want to see us succeed." Ethan frowned, processing the words. "But the neighborhood is with us. Everyone here wants to help." We just need to focus on the fundraiser, right? Right, Mr. Thompson replied, but his expression didn't change. He looked away, his gaze directed at the ground. But sometimes help comes with its own price. I've seen it before, Ethan. There are those who feel threatened when the community steps up. We need to tread carefully. Ethan felt a chill creep up his spine. He had only thought about rallying their support, but he hadn't considered the potential backlash. As if sensing Ethan's unease, Mr. Thompson added, "It doesn't mean we can't do this. It just means we need to prepare ourselves for whatever might come next." The weight of the conversation sunk in, urgency knotting tightly in Ethan's stomach. He wanted to fight back against those unclear threats, to stand up for Mr. Thompson and his wife. But how? What tools did he really possess aside from enthusiasm and determination? Suddenly, the clamor of laughter and chatter from the park seemed distant. Ethan's heart grew heavy as he spoke, his voice trembling slightly. "I just wanted to help. I thought we could make a difference." "You are making a difference," Mr. Thompson insisted, his voice firmer now. "But remember, no good deed goes unnoticed. There will be those who will try to undermine us. It is up to you and your friends to stay united and vigilant." Ethan felt a fire spark within him. They had begun this journey with hope, and they wouldn't let anything extinguish that flame. "Then we organize. We prepare for anything. We can meet up, brainstorm solutions, and make sure we stand strong together." Mr. Thompson gave a nod, a flicker of respect in his eyes. "That's the spirit. But make sure to keep your friends close. Be open with them about everything. You'll need their trust and their courage." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the park, Ethan took a deep breath, his resolve solidifying. He gathered his friends for an impromptu meeting, sharing everything Mr. Thompson had said. They listened, concerns mixing with excitement as plans took shape. Hours passed before they started to head home, minds swirling with ideas, determination buzzing in the air. But as he walked through the empty park, Ethan felt that knot of uncertainty return, twisting tighter. What could really stand in their way? And what if they weren't prepared for those obstacles? The question echoed in his mind as he headed home, knowing that the next few days would be vital. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning, and the challenges ahead might be even bigger than he imagined. Ethan's heart raced with anticipation, and dread pulsed in tandem. What lay in store for them? Would the community's support be enough to see them through the storm on the horizon? As Saturday's sun rose over the small Midwestern town, it painted a bright canvas of blue sky, a perfect day for what lay ahead. Ethan's heart raced with anticipation and anxiety. The fundraiser for the Thompsons had been planned meticulously, and now there was no turning back. Today would reveal if all their hard work could spark the change they hoped for. Ethan arrived at the field early, a buzz of excitement filling the air as teammates and community members began setting up. Tables were lined with baked goods, colorful raffle items neatly displayed, and a massive donation box sat proudly at the center, waiting to be filled with hope. He felt a thrill in every heartbeat. This was it, the culmination of everything he had worked for. His friends were running around, laughter mingling with chatter as they finalized preparations. Jack approached him, a wide smile on his face. "You ready, man? This is going to be epic." "Yeah, but what if no one shows up?" Ethan confessed, his stomach tightening at the thought. "Come on. Look at all these people. They're here because of you, dude. You make them believe." Jack reassured him, slapping him on the back. As the festivities began, families arrived flocking to the tables. Ethan felt a sense of warmth wash over him, the community's spirit evident in the smiles, cheers, and support. Mrs. Collins baked her famous pies, while the Rodriguez family offered mouth-watering tamales. Little by little, the donations stacked higher in the box, and with every contribution, Ethan's hope soared. But as the day continued, whispers stirred at the back of Ethan's mind. What if Mr. Thompson's worries materialized? He kept a vigilant eye on the attendees, scanning for familiar faces. The doubt crept beneath his skin, despite the vibrant atmosphere. Suddenly, he spotted a figure lurking at the edge of the gathering, a man he recognized, a neighbor who often mumbled under his breath about the Thompsons. Ethan's heart sank. The man stood with arms crossed, watching with a scowl. His presence felt like a shadow cast over the joyful occasion. "Ethan?" It was Mr. Thompson's voice. The elderly man stepped up beside him, his eyes narrowing at their neighbor. "Looks like we might need to keep an eye on this situation." Ethan swallowed hard. "Do you think he'll cause trouble?" Mr. Thompson shrugged, the light lining his wrinkles a little dimmer. "He believes in the old stories, the ones that cast shadows. But you have your community around you. They'll protect what matters." The words struck a chord deep within Ethan. He turned to face the gathering, feeling the energy buzz around him. "We can't let anything diminish this. We've all come together. This is about more than money. It's about showing kindness." He took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. "Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. We're here not just to raise funds but to raise spirits. Together we're stronger." The crowd erupted into applause, encouragement lighting up their faces like a celebration of humanity. Felt like the wind shifted, pushing away shadows. Even the skeptical neighbor seemed to waver, skepticism turning into respect. As the raffle drawing approached, a new ripple of anticipation coursed through the crowd. With every ticket pulled, the cheers grew, laughter bubbling up like a fizzy drink. It felt magical. Then, as they neared the end of the event, a commotion surged from the back. The skeptical neighbor had finally approached their table, a fierce look on his face. "Is this fundraiser really going to help anyone?" he challenged, arms crossed defiantly. A hush fell, eyes darting nervously. All gathered turned to Ethan. This was his moment. Ethan felt the pressure grip him tightly, but instead of stepping back, he took a step forward. "Yes, we're here to make a difference. Mr. Thompson and his wife have given so much love to this community, and they deserve to feel that love back. We're showing that we're not just bystanders. We're a family." The neighbor's expression cracked slightly, doubt fading as the murmurs of agreement swelled within the crowd. Mr. Thompson stepped beside Ethan, his voice steady. "Kindness has a ripple effect. You can choose, my friend. Choose compassion." The man stood still, swallowed by the voices echoing around him. Finally, he nodded slightly, the rigidity in his posture softening. "Fine. I suppose they do deserve some help." That small acceptance ignited the crowd, renewed determination lighting up their spirits once again. As the last of the raffle tickets were pulled, and the funds tallied, Ethan stood at the forefront, overwhelmed with gratitude. They raised over $1,000. It felt like triumph, a tidal wave of hope flooding through him as the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across the park. Ethan sought Mr. Thompson. They caught each other's eye, understanding pooling between them. There was a quiet promise of more to come, a bridge extending beyond just this day. "You did it, son," Mr. Thompson said, his voice warm. "This is just the beginning." Standing amidst the community that had rallied around him and the Thompsons, Ethan took a moment to soak it all in. There would always be challenges, but today he learned something monumental. Helping others and pursuing his dreams weren't mutually exclusive. They were woven together beautifully. The final echoes of chatter and laughter rang in Ethan's heart, and right then, he felt a deep sense of belonging. Hope had transformed their community, and it would continue to grow. Ethan returned home that night, radiating joy. There would still be steps to take, dreams to chase, and storms to weather, but for the first time, he felt no fear. He was ready for whatever came his way. This marked the start of a journey not just for him or the Thompsons, but for the whole town. Together they would tackle each challenge ahead, one step at a time. So stand strong and let compassion lead. Remember, you can spark a change together. We are unstoppable. Now, your turn. This is the moment to show your support. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.